The Gambian internet, the social media platforms that women have access to in the Gambia is really abusive towards women. You are exposed to people who prey on women, people who use every opportunity they have to attack women, intimidate women, harass women, and silence victims of sexual violence who use the internet as a platform to tell their stories.
There is a lot of advocacy that I do online for the rights of women and girls. For me, this has put me in a very delicate position and situations sometimes with online gender-based violence.
So I think it's really not a safe space for women, and those of us who are on these social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, and other social media platforms, we really go through a lot of things which in one way or another are traumatizing experiences for all of us.
Every time I saw someone or a woman being targeted online, it didn't really sit right with me, and I always felt the need to, let's say, speak up about it and basically try to protect them.
The moment you start talking about these things, they've already labeled you as a brainwashed Western ideology believer or something of that sort. So the moment you start talking about these things, they come at you with all kinds of intimidating messages, all kinds of bullying tactics, and they have really brainwashed people online, or they've really made it believable to people using internet platforms in the Gambia that it is okay, whatever these female activists, whatever these gender activists are subjected to, whatever kinds of intimidation or bullying they're subjected to, they deserve it because they have no regard for our religion and our culture.
It would be very great if app developers would help out activists and feminists with the work that they do. Not just activists and feminists, but women in general. There's a very big gap in the tech world, in my opinion, and where you have people making decisions as to what post needs to be taken down, what post needs to stay up. There probably isn't a lot of women at those tables giving feedback on how women experience online gender-based violence.
I want to see people being held accountable for their actions. I want to see when people use the internet to bully women, to insult women, to abuse women, they're held accountable. If they're in the Gambia, they're arrested. There's some kind of legal framework that allows for the law to hold these people accountable, to make sure that women get justice for the intimidation that they face online.
A lot of people feel like, oh, this is sort of a joke, but it's not. And people do it all the time. They'll be on the one post making a joke, which is not funny, and they'll go to another post, and whenever you react to it, it's like, it's just a joke. You shouldn't take it seriously. I think this is something that we need to pay attention to. Not everything is a joke. Not everything is funny. People's mental health is not something that you play with.
I needed a break. I needed to process everything that was going on and talk about it and seek help, and that gave me more strength, because when I came back, there was no stopping me, because I had talked about my experience, I had gotten help, and I was stronger, and I was ready to take the fight on to the next level.
Our personalities online are an extension of ourselves in person, and as such we also need to basically exercise our autonomy and independence online without any threats of violence.
As a young woman, I am involved in so many advocacy campaigns in the Gambia, whether it is about government accountability and transparency, whether it's about sexual violence, whether it's about politics, all of these cases. And you realize that as a woman, the moment you take a stance, the moment you speak your truth, you are subjected to things that the male activists who are speaking the same truth, who are using the same platform, who are advocating for the same things, they're not subjected to the kind of intimidation or the kind of backlash that we are subjected to as women. So I've realized in my experience that every time I take a stance about a case, about a situation in the Gambia, it is brought back to my personality, to my gender as a woman, and all these other activists who are involved in it with me, who are from the male gender, they are not subjected to the same thing. So this just goes to show that it's not about what you stand for. It's not about the case. It's not about sexual violence. In my case, it's not about politics. In my case, it's just about one thing and one thing alone, that you're a woman, and that alone makes it okay for people to use the internet to label you, to insult you, to subject you to backlash, to societal stigmatization and discrimination. So all of these experiences, like I've said before, have been for me and for all the other young women that I work with who are also exposed to almost the same experiences, have been very traumatizing